right? So sit up straight and tall. So this idea of centering, you're not just relaxing, you're not just calming your mind down. You're creating a new world, or you're allowing a new world. So yeah, one of the ways you stop your mind from judging is to ungrip your organs of perception. So lips together, teeth slightly apart. So there's a sensation, it's not just that you relax your temples, but by softening your temples, maybe you feel a change in relationship to the space just outside of your temples, right? When you relax the skin on your face, maybe something starts to drop and all of a sudden you feel the air on your face more. You're not trying to do anything. When you let, when your lips are together, teeth slightly apart, and you feel the touch on your lips and the tongue and the lower palate and the inside of your mouth. And you soften it, even the base of your tongue. Not just so slightly lift your chest, but just slightly. Transformation is possible in what you thought was empty. Open to what's behind you. So drop your shoulder blades a little bit and bring your upper thoracic forward. Stay connected to your sitting bones and feet. There's an inside of you and then there's an outside of you. And when you center enough, it starts to lose meaning, but stay sturdy in your body. Stay grounded. When you're done with this world, there's another one. If you can stay naive. From the midline, get bigger. Feel the power of your inhalation, the extension on exhalation. Let go of your day. Prepare your mind to do yoga. If you stay centered, the empty space is hopeful, not lost. Good. And then release a little bit and lift your sternum up and drop your chin. Try to let your spine be in lead with your life energy. Feel your rib cage expand on the inhalation. Exhale and travel up and down through your spine on exhalation. From expanding ribs to centering midline. Let it be different. Be naive. Raise your head up with closed eyes. Open your eyes. Start moving around a little bit. The same old, but it's not the same old, same old. It's kind of essential. So whatever you need to do to start feeling lighter, to fight, to start feeling like that movement is part of the expression. There's another line in a Talking Heads song. She moves to describe the world. I love that line. So your movements aren't just for a purpose. They're like a description, right? They're not just, for some reason I want to do circles today. Like, oh, I got to make sure I'm doing both ways though. And I like one way better than the other. What the heck? Brain must be stuck in a pattern, right? And going back over a little bit and pushing on my legs to do it, right? So I'm pushing on my thighs and lifting my chest. It's gonna take more expansive roll through my body and take my legs wide. Again, for me, this is all part of it because I get too stuck in my wheelchair, right? I get too plastered to where my sitting bones are and where my legs are. So now I'm just moving around a little bit. And hopefully, to do this sometimes, I've always found that it's fun to have a song playing in your head. So you do the movements with a little bit more rhythm. However you do it, do it that way, right? Make sure that you're having more of a connection, however you do it, to your movements, right? So you're gonna get, right? So things are doing it, right? So there's the awareness that's more like control, which has a lot of instructions in it. And then there's the awareness where the movement is just the movement, right? So you're just moving. There's a whole thing that used to be at yoga gym called trance dancing, right? Where you just would be spontaneously moving. But I don't, that's not quite me, but there are certain places that I know I need to open. Like my shoulders are tight a lot. So I'm purposely doing a movement here where I open from here to here, right? And I can make this more yoga in a second, right? But I'm getting this part of me open, right? The underneath side of my chest. I'm even touching it, trying to get this more open, right? So here's something, because I just liked how it felt, that I want you to try to do, right? I want you to, reach underneath by your armpit chest here and lift it up, but at the same time, push on your opposite leg. So you get this part of your chest open and you get it connected to the opposite leg. And it's even more important for me to do it on this side. So I have one side that really needs this, which is this side. So I'm getting this side open and I'm getting grounding on my opposite leg. So my spine, my brain starts to open to the connection between this lift and the grounding of my legs, right? So I'm going back and forth, getting this more open, right? So when the chest lifts, right, it comes out, but I don't want to lose that too much. I want to make sure it grounds into my legs, right? So I'm going to come to the center and just feel that for a second. Right? It's causing me an abdominal spasm, so I've got to slow down a little bit. So now I'm going to now have energy come from the outside in a different way. If that was more going from the inside out, we'll do this a lot too, right? I'm going to push on my knees, bring them together a little bit. I'm going to bring them together and feel energy come in and up. So my midline plays catch, and then I release. So I'm letting the energy come in, I'm catching it, and then I'm letting it just distribute this way, right? So I'm gonna let the energy come in, and actually now I'm gonna, as I bring my legs together and feel the alignment, I'm gonna inhale with that. And then I'm gonna exhale and let it fall. Right, so I'm starting to play with the in and out of energy, right? Extend in, take a breath in, exhale, release. Helps me to turn my palms out. So I'm trying to get a rhythm between what's coming in and going out, right? Coming in through my midline, going out. Gonna have it come in on inhalation, going out on exhalation. Gonna do that a couple times. In on inhalation, out on exhalation. Because I want things to come with me. So I'm like moving through the space, like feeling my midline, moving my arm, feeling the air on my palms, right? Feeling the air on the back. I'm touching this plant. This plant's part of my, I have a certain leaf and a wheel violet always goes in my ear. It's like at the perfect height. So I'm doing this too. But now I'm going to add more. I'm not just going to feel my arm. I'm not just going to pay attention. I want more of the world to be, I want my brain to tune into more of the world. So now when I take my arm out, I'm making sure I connect it to my sitting bones in my feet. And then I bring it back and forth and I go, wait, it's my whole body moving. Although it's my arm moving, it's expressing my whole body, right? I'm gonna do it on this side. So instead of just like throwing my arm out, like we talked about last week, I'm grounding, I'm feeling, and I'm letting this be an expression of the whole of my whole body. This was such a big breakthrough for me when I started doing yoga, was that I didn't just talk with my mouth or with my upper body. I could talk with my entire body, even though I was paralyzed. And you see a lot of people that don't know how to talk with their entire body. It's not just gesticulate. I mean, you might not be a hand talker, right? But you can definitely, and I'm just like making sure I keep things light in the midline. Talking with your whole body is something to practice. So a lot of times when I would get more anxious, not anxious, but kind of nervous about public speaking, I would always lean forward, put your forearms on your thighs, right? Lift my chest so I'd come and I'd be here. So I'd find the grounding energy. So now turn that, so ground enough and then activate your spine and lift up. So you're coming kind of closer to an upward facing dog, but you're letting the energy of your spine come through you from the grounding of your legs. Again, we're trying to like naively introduce connection between where you are in your body and the space around you, right? Because I don't know about you, but I forget when I wake up with stress and stuff, or if I start my day, I'm taking my legs wide now, right? I forget what's actually happening, which is I'm perpetually connected to the space around me. My mind forgets so fast what's actually true. Right now, I'm leaning over. I'm still on kind of the warm-up stuff, like trying to remind myself, my brain, to go on a different kind of submarine ride, right? Because I'm looking for a different world, right? Because the one I inherited about how I was supposed to perceive my body, it's not actually fundamental. It's a construct a little bit, right? And I don't mean, one of the things that, and then um, legs back together. I'm not one to try to say that disability is a construct, because I don't want to define what my body is in relationship to an ableist world, right? I'm more curious about what's actually here and what it is that I experience. I want to lift up a little bit because I want to get lighter in my seat. Right? So I'm curious about what's here so I can get all these sensations. So now so now with all this movement, and you've got things woke up a little bit more, find your sitting bones, find your feet, balance your head over your neck, lift your sternum, broaden across the collarbones, feel the outer tips of your shoulders, right? Drop the shoulder blades down, lift the sternum up, broaden, but behind the sternum and across the collarbones, hit down through your sitting bones. Have a couple of breaths. Good, and then release, right? So keep this light feeling, sit up straight and tall. Let this be an anchor. And now we're going to go into more control again. Don't squeeze life out of the world by your need to control. Right, but from here, turn your head anchored from here to the right. Keep the sternum lift, shoulder blades dropped. As you turn your head, make sure you stay open to the sensation of your legs, because your mind's going to go to what's loudest, right? So it's going to feel all this movement. You're trying to anchor here to create a sensation of grounding and turning your head, but trying to make sure, just like when you brought the hand across, you're trying to turn your head in relationship to the sensation of your whole body, right? And then back to center. And so include the sensation of your legs in the head turn while anchored here. And then back to center. And then go. And now try to use your yogic awareness to make the asana part of this movement more awake, more alive, but don't squeeze it too hard, right? Figure out where you're graceful and where you're trying, when that turns into controlling it too much, right? And then, so if you have an expectation of a back bend and you want to go really far, you're already not being part of the experience, right? So I'm going to put my hands on my thighs. I'm going to know that I'm going to I want to start the back bend from a grounding energy, right? So I'm going to do what I know to ground, which for me right now is put my hands on my knees. I have armrests right here. So I use that for grounding. Whatever you do, find the sensation of grounding, find a starting point, right? And then don't be ahead of the back bend, feel it, right? Go up and over your chair, right? And then when you get there, try to open even more. Try to feel the skin on the front of your chest spread, connected to the space behind the sternum, between the shoulder blades. Broaden that to open the skin on your chest. Keep pushing down on your legs. Good. And then come forward. So now you change. And a whole bunch of things change from looking skyward to looking towards earth, right? And your asana needs both. So now I'm gonna, from a more forward grounded position, I'm gonna start lifting my spine, not just my gaze, to go up. I'm gonna feel this for a couple of beats. Then I'm gonna reposition and transition it to a different energy in my spine. So it's still a back thing, but it's more open. And then come forward again and come through and watch the difference in the sensations. Be naive. Everything's different. It's amazing how much different it is when I look down, right? And then again, open. So I'm still forward, right? And the difference between that and doing it this way, I'm gonna pause in the middle here for a second before I shift gravity and go back. And then back to center. Take more space again. Go wide, right? Oh, see, you know, well, I mean, I can't move through my legs like most of you. So for me, it's a really nice movement to describe the world, to have my legs wide, come forward and extend out from my tailbone out through each knee, right? And then coincide that with the gravity change, right? So even if you can feel all this, know that there's another dimension introduced by gravity changes, right? And that layer is also here, right? So now here, I'm going to come forward and make sure you don't fall out of your chair. So I'm grabbing my footrests on my wheelchair, but I'm taking time now to wherever you put your hands, whether it's on your chair seat or whatever, connect the sensation of your hands to the sensation on the bottoms of your feet, right? So I'm making sure my brain is registering hands and feet. I'm going to lift my sternum. Take a breath. I'm going to come forward a little bit more and really lift my chest. And then come back. Really got the sun of the fall here. And I'm coming into my pose. Good. And then release. Legs back together. Thing about the sun, I don't know how much of you have done yoga with the influence of sun. It's not always great. Sometimes it can be great. Come back to midline. Don't do a lot of yoga in the hot sun, just so you know. Okay, so bring your hands together if you can. All right, connect the heel of your hands. Again, we do this a lot, but we're going through a touchstone, right? Our hands become an expression of what's happening through our spine. It's happening through our shoulders. heel of the hands are more grounded. Opening the palms, spreading through the fingers is the expansion. So on inhalation, feel the palm expanding. On exhalation, feel the bones coming more into contact, the grounding energy of it. I don't know about you, but when I start becoming more aware of that in my hands, I start to feel different things in my legs. My whole body starts breathing. Good, and then release. So what do I mean by the whole body breathing? Well, it's a subtle sensation, right? It's not literal. It's kind of similar to taking your arm out and letting it pass through you, right? Right? We did this a little bit before, like taking the arm out and bringing it back and having it pass through you, right? So every movement is an expression of your whole body, right? So it's not just your arm moving, right? So everything, so I come forward, I feel changes in my legs. When I go back, right, I feel open to what's upward, right? When I take my arm wide, inhale, take it wide. I bring my this energy out, but I stay in my feet while I do it, right? I let it pass through across me like a shadow. Grab the center of the chair, go this way, right? So I'm being more connected to the space around me in every movement, right? My body's like in space. So I'm activating more proprioception and interoception combined, and then going this way with my spine, and then forward, and then up again, and then this way, and then this way. And I'm trying to be as connected as I can, not just as a thought, but like with the pores of my skin to the whole room, right? Like trying to feel myself in space, up and through, over, come forward into the midline, exhale, inhale. The whole body's moving now, right? Even though the movement's only on the outside, right? Things are passing through me. Forward again, back, up, centered, back to hands in prayer. Earth, expansion. Don't just pay attention to your lungs. Take the sensation of all that movement and breathe with your whole body. Let the hum of the movement receive the breath. Refine the earth. Refine the expansion of the palm. On the fingers, let the opening palm open your chest. Extend the fingers to connect you to your spine. Balance your head over your neck. Open to what's behind you. Breathe with your whole body. Good. And then release. So I'm curious, when you came into that final, you know, breathing with your whole body, like I'm going to now, of course, call on Melinda, right? So, but because she did what I did too, and we all did, like all of a sudden, when you start to realize that, so Melinda, at a certain point, you tilted your head and got rid of a kink, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so you're coming into to like, and you notice a kink, and you think you can get it out, right? Say more about you felt like something was pinched somewhere, or because we all did a version of it. She made a bigger movement, so I can like call her out.
Well, I started to feel a little bit of tension, and it's generally a movement I like, which is the feeling my how to put it, feeling my skull on top of my neck, and just letting a little bit of movement in there so it settles back on top.
So did anyone dig that instruction fill in the skull on the top of my neck? Because as soon as you do that, did anyone feel that it grew space? Like I didn't, that instruction for me didn't make me think, oh my God, my head's heavy on my neck, right? As soon as I try to differentiate my skull from my neck, does anyone feel like they get taller? Is that just me? You feel what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's a very cool instruction, right? And then you say from there you want to settle back in, but you knew you had to kind of tip your head to your right, right? Because something was stuck or pressed there.
Yep, just a
Yeah.
little.
Or that, or, doing something wrong shows you what's right, or something. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Did anyone else find themselves the mind immediately going to something that was wrong or like kind of off alignment, right? And this is what you do as a yogi, right? You do these types of things and you find these types of ways, right? Was it successful when you tipped your head and came back into center? It worked. See, whatever
Hmm.
works, that's the home run, right? Whatever makes you feel you can settle back into the center, right? So from exactly however you're sitting right now, find your center without moving. But wait, I want to straighten my head. So I got my head tipped, I can tell, right? All these things that I think I could be just a little bit better. I straighten my head. And that's what a yogi does, right? The yogi realizes that there are ways to make things slightly better. And that's the spirit of Walt Grace's submarine ride, right? Trying to figure out a way. So again, too often I feel like my centered place, I had to get there, I have to make myself narrower and find the place that's at the center, right? Like, okay, I gotta calm my mind down. Here it is. then I'm going to breathe into that flattened place, right? Well, instead of trying to think right now of center going like this, try to feel the center by having it be more expansive. So maybe some micro adjustments because the yogi's spirit remains undaunted. Like maybe it could be just a little bit better. So make some micro adjustments because because of the position I'm in, I'm feeling the fatigue starting to come on certain muscles more than others. Good. And when I stay there too long, I actually don't breathe as well. When I use that awareness, now I'm gonna open my chest a little bit, go back to some rhythm, right? Because we're heading towards Shavasana again, right? So I'm gonna start being in more space again, right? Revisiting some of the class, just quick, not trying to do too much yoga, just letting the movements be part of my Shavasana, right? Taking my legs wide again, getting in more space. Because I want all of it to come into Shavasana, right? So I'm feeling all of it. Back to where you're about to do Shavasana, to your midline, because you want the river to come through you. So you got to put some little pebbles or rocks in the river, but you want to make your rocks not cause too much displacement. So I'm finding my center again. And then landing into my chair, letting the support of my chair, not trying to hold up through gravity, but letting it hold me up, but still keeping that sense of expansion. Because both are possible. Lips together, teeth slightly apart. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. whatever quietness you're experiencing, let it be a hum. Let it go through your whole body. Feel your breath. Don't change it. Thank your body. Thank it again. Start to bring yourself back. Slightly deeper inhalation. Slightly longer exhalation. When you're ready to open your eyes, let the light in. You can close them to do it again. Open your eyes. There's different worlds waiting for you. All right, hands together. Namaste. Spirit in me bows the spirit in you.